please show some love to Adela Wilson.
It was 2002, just 2 days after our first PCS. My husband and I had been married for a little over 6 months, but we had been apart for most of that time due to deployment. It was just after 9/11 when we got married. I was so excited to be reunited, and we were in England. Wow, I had never been out of the United States, and now I was living in Europe. My husband knew that I was excited to start this adventure, so he had promised to take me sightseeing. And we all know, with the military, promises sometimes don't get kept. So as we're heading out the door, I'm super excited, we get a phone call. And then I hear, honey, plans have changed. And I'm thinking, changed? He says, yes, that was my commander, and I need to go in for a briefing. Well, here, I want to be, I don't want to make any waves. So I'm like, no problem, I got this. I'll head out, and I'll meet you back when you get out of after your meeting. And he's like, no, you don't understand. We need to wait. And I'm like, wait? Yes, you've not taken your international driving test, and I think it's safer if you wait here. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm 32 years old. I've been driving since I was 15. I'm not some naive little schoolgirl. I don't need protecting. But again, I signed up to be this dutiful military spouse. So I said, okay, no problem. And we said our goodbyes. As I was sitting there in our billeting room, this dreary, boring little room, I was growing more and more restless and a bit hungry. I had been told that just down the road from the base, there was a grocery store. I could be back before he knew I was gone. Patience was never a virtue of mine. So I jumped into the car and I headed off. All was going well, until up ahead, I see this giant concrete blob with cars whizzing all around it. At the time, I didn't know, but that's what they call a roundabout. My first instinct was to drive up on it and wait to be rescued. That's a story for another day, but that actually happened later. It's like, no, Adela, you are this strong, independent woman. You can do this. You just gotta make it across. Just across. Grocery store is just up ahead. Okay. Well, I was in the wrong lane. So the traffic flow forced me onto the A14. And maybe for my partner here who's been in the UK, they know the A14 is or at least for me, it was like 95 on steroids. So I was trying to merge on, and as I did, I see signs. There was London, 60 miles, Cambridge, 15 miles, and I panicked, and I veered off to the side of the road. And as I sat there, I felt my heart pounding in my chest, tears welling up in my eyes. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I had no cell phone, no map. My husband didn't know where I was, but most importantly, I didn't know where the hell I was and how I was gonna make it back. But then I remembered this little book that I once thought was a nuisance because I'd had my driver's license for how many years? Maybe it had some kind of silver bullet in there that I could get out of this mess. So as I'm flipping through the pages, I see emergency phone. Oh, okay, emergency phone, that's good. So I make it out of the car and I head down the shoulder, and about half a mile down I see it. And I run to it and I pick up the receiver and I hear 999, what's your emergency? Ma'am, we can't understand you. After a few minutes back and forth of them telling me they couldn't understand me through my blubbering, I was able to explain my dilemma, and they assured me help was on the way and that they would notify my husband. Notify my husband? Really? Do you have to do that? Okay, but I want help. And so I sat there and I waited, and there comes the police. And I was like a kid at Christmas. I'm like, hallelujah, I'm good. I ran up to the car and I'm like, okay, here's my keys. RAF Falconberry, please take me home. And they're like, ma'am, what's your name? I'm like, I'm Adela Wilson. I just want to go home. Here's my keys, drive me home. He's like, ma'am, we can't drive your car. I'm like, oh yes you can. You're the police. I said you could. They're like, ma'am, it's against the law. We can't drive your car. So after a few minutes of us debating this, It sunk in, they weren't going to drive my car. I had to do that, but I had a plan. Okay, well, if you want me to get back on that road, you need to stop traffic, or I'm not making it back out there. And I thought, surely, that'll get them to change their mind. Yeah, no. They did. One got in the car with me, and one stopped traffic. We merged onto the road, and we were making our way back. Mind you, did I mention, this is the girl that had gotten 4 speeding tickets the 18 months before we moved out, before we got married. Thank goodness, North, South Carolina, they didn't communicate. You're holding up traffic. I'm like, that has never been said to me before, but okay. So as I'm making my way down to the base, I think about my husband. This is my 2nd marriage. We've not been together very long. I don't know if we're going to be much longer, but it's okay. So as I see the guard gate and I'm making my way onto the base, I notice him, and he's got this stern look on his face, and he walks out up to the car, and he thanks the police officer, and I say, honey, wait, Adela, and he never called me Adela, only when he was mad. So I said, we'll talk about it when we get back to the room. Ooh. That's okay. So as I'm sitting there and we're making our way back to the billeting room, I'm thinking the worst. It's like divorce here. Oh no. So we get to the room, he makes it out of the car, he's walking around, I'm thinking, and then I see his face, and this stern look had melted into a smile. I sunk into his arms, and I knew we were going to be okay. In hindsight, even though I was grown and I knew how to drive, I didn't have to. I had nothing to prove and 4 years to explore. I'd like to tell you that I learned my lesson and that things like that never happen, but I'm just a little bit hard-headed. So we've had a few instances like that, but 18 years later, at least today, we're still married.